with the Speaker and Senator Schumer. I think we would also characterize the discussions as the most productive we've had to date. We went through a long list of policy issues on our side, on their side. As we've suggested in the past, there's clearly a subset of issues where we both agree on very much. We're very interested in extending on enhanced unemployment insurance. We're very interested in schools. We're very interested in jobs. I think, as you know, as the leader McConnell has said several times, liability insurance is very important to us. So there's definitely the PPP. There's a lot of bipartisan support. So we discuss both the issues we agree on and the issues we don't agree on. I would characterize this as there's still a lot of work to do. We've agreed that tomorrow the staff will meet and make additional progress, follow up. We have a bunch of specific follow-up items, and then Monday, Chief Meadows and I expect to meet again with them to continue our discussions. It is a priority for the President to make sure that we deal with the issue that unemployment has run out and the rental eviction. So we understand that the Speaker and Senator Schumer want to have an overall deal. So we'll be back here working full-time until we can accomplish something for the benefit of the American people.
In my conversations with the President late last night and early this morning, he stressed that addressing the enhanced unemployment and eviction protection still needs to be the very top priority. Secretary Mnuchin and I have committed our full schedules to make sure that we can come to some kind of resolution, not just on those items, but as the Secretary was talking about, on a host of other areas, whether it's child care, schools, jobs, and making sure that those that are suffering the most, that those immediate needs are addressed. I can say this, that the amount of time that we're willing to invest, both personally and with our staff, it needs to be a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week kind of commitment until we get this done. And the President is checking in literally on an hourly basis to see how we're progressing, and yet it really gets to it's time to make a deal. And if we're going to be able to succeed in this, it's taking what started as probably the first day of a good foundation of productive discussions and building upon those, and until we reach an agreement hopefully in the next couple of days.
You said on Thursday that you are not very optimistic about the chances of a larger deal in this upcoming week. Has this meeting changed your feeling about?
Well, I think the Secretary mentioned that it was a productive day. I think both Senator Schumer and Speaker Pelosi would agree with that. We're still a long ways apart, and I don't want to suggest that a deal is imminent, because it is not. But like with any deal, as you make progress, I think it's important to recognize that you're making progress and not set an unrealistic expectation that we're just a few items away, because there's still substantial differences, but we did make good progress.
You've talked about how this process works well when there's a deadline. Unemployment has expired, a bunch of the provisions have expired. So what now is the timeline? What is
Let me clarify. I never said the process works well when there's a deadline. I said that people tend to be focused when there is a deadline. So let me be clear. We are here and we want to get a deal because specifically the two components that have expired, and that's our priority. There's many other priorities that are in there.
Yeah, I spoke to a young lady by the name of Rashonda yesterday who had the enhanced unemployment, and my commitment to her, as well as my commitment to all of the Americans that are out there that are hurting right now, is that we're going to stay involved. The reason why we're focused, as the Secretary talked about, is that we're here on a Saturday. We're going to commit as much time as we possibly can, and for every hour past the expiration for a couple of key provisions that happened yesterday, the time is ticking, the clock is ticking, and we need to be expeditious in our negotiations. And I think the Secretary and I, on behalf of the President, are committed to do that. I know he's asking us to not relent in those negotiations until we figure out if we can get a deal or not.
And I would just say the four of us also agree the education issue is something that's very timely. Schools are opening. There are schools that want to open that will need more money for social distancing, PPE. So schools are also another important factor in this. And as the chief said, we're not going to come back tomorrow only because we thought it'd be productive to have the staff, but we will be speaking to both the president on a regular basis and the staff on a regular basis. And as I said, we'll be back here every day until we solve this.
Could you clarify what the White House position is on liability protections being in this? Is it a red line for you as it is for McConnell?
Leader McConnell has made it very clear it's a red line, and he's the one that establishes what goes before his Senate colleagues, and he's made it very clear that liability protection will be in any bill that gets passed, and we support that decision.
Can you ask, is McConnell going to be involved in these discussions?
McConnell is very involved, so we just updated his team. We'll be in touch with him later today. But yes, let me be clear. Both Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell are very involved in everything that we're doing. As I've made this constantly, Mark and I are a team. We check with the president. There's nothing that we're doing that without the support of the president, and we are fully in touch with Kevin and Mitch.
You said the president was checking in almost hourly. You guys were there quite some
Well, obviously, he didn't check in while I was there. So maybe that was a little bit of hyperbole.
Although he did speak before we went in.
I was on the phone literally as we went in,
I think he's on the golf course, right?
and I'm about to call him as soon as we finish here.
Was there any sort of consensus on whether this will be a whole package, as Speaker Pelosi said, walking in, or will there be parts of this?
There's clearly a desire. They've made clear there's clearly a desire on their part to do an entire package. We've made clear that we are willing to deal with the short-term issues and pass something quickly and come back to the larger issues. So we're at an impasse on that.
Like, were there certain things that you guys were able to sort of narrow out some sort of framework, whether it was unemployment?
I think there were things that we clearly agreed on today that we agree on. And again, I want to be clear, there's still a lot of open issues. But again, I think it was the most constructive meeting we've had. But again, until there's a deal and we get something passed for the American people, it's not done.
You mentioned these, I have no concept of timing now. A few days ago, you mentioned that UI and state and local, and I'm forgetting one other, were the main sticking points. You guys were pretty far apart on those. Have you?
Again, I don't think we're going to comment on the specifics of the negotiation. It's not helpful. I would say, again, as an overall perspective, there's things we agree on. There's things we don't agree on. We're trying to narrow down the things we don't agree on. Obviously, any negotiation is a compromise. I mean, we know we need bipartisan support, and we need the president's support to pass anything. Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys. We're going to go this.